So I thought I'd just show you the end result of day 11, the second problem. I figure you've already watched the sausage being made enough, and maybe you just want to see the sausage. So, here, pretty straightforward. First of all, let's go back to the. Okay, so here's part two of day 11. And the idea here is that it's the same automaton, roughly, the same automaton, except that now we're doing line of sight. Instead of checking the 8 neighbors that are immediately adjacent, we're looking down 8 pathways along the same slope lines. It's just we're going to keep on looking, and we're going to stop looking as soon as we see an empty seat or a full seat. In other words, we skip over floor. But if we see an empty seat, then we count it as empty. And if we see a full seat, then we count it as full. So that's how we get our neighbors, right? Instead of looking at the 8 adjacent cells, we go line of sight until the first seat we see. And we only use the 8 cardinal directions of the compass, right? North, northwest, west, whatever. Okay. Floors are transparent. Empty seats are not. That stops the search. Full seats are not. That stops the search. Good. And then one other change. Seats only go empty if there are 5 or more rather than 4 or more. So they changed the rule slightly. And then they just wanted us to count. And so the solution to that was very, very simple. We want to be able to know if we can see the person. So this is the function that checks to see if you can see a person. And you can see it's a recursive loop. And the first location we're going to look at is the location we're examining plus the slope of whatever the slope is. And the slope is passed in as an argument. Slope is a vector, 2-component vector, the number of things to add, and the slopes are 1, 1, negative 1, negative 1, that kind of thing. Okay, the loop concludes if the location's out of bounds, so if we go past the edge, then we're going to stop the loop, and we're going to return a false. We didn't see a person. Otherwise, if we see a person, so if we get the cell at this location and there's a person there, then we're going to return true and stop the search. If we see an empty seat, we're going to return false and stop the search. If we see a floor, we will continue the search by adding the slope to the location. So we're going to walk along the slope until we hit something. Now, how many people do we see from a particular location? So here's the location, and this is the world. Here's all the slopes we're going to look at. You can check them. I actually made the mistake a couple of times, right? Didn't get all 8 in there right, because, just a programmer. Anyway, then we say, okay, we map through can see person, which was this function here, through all those directions, right? So the slope is going to be passed in all those directions. We stick that in a list of visibles, and then we count the number of trues in the visibles, and that's going to be the count. And then after that, it's just another one of these update automations. I created a new update automation too. It works exactly the same way, except that it calls count visible people and uses a 5 here. That's pretty much it. And I made another count stable, except in this case it's count stable visible people. But it works exactly the same way, except that it calls update automation too. And of course, this gives me all the right answers. Now, I thought you would like to see this GUI working. And so let's go look at the GUI and see how it functions, because it's very different from the last one. Okay, obviously this line of sight thing gives the people much more reason to get out of their seats. But again, it fills from the edges in, same way as the other one, except this time they can see so many people that they vacate immediately. And anyway, that's what the GUI looks like when you do that one. it's a very bizarre kind of cellular automaton, not nearly as interesting as the Game of Life. I suppose a very interesting challenge would be to set up the floor places properly to make it a little more interesting, but I'm not sure that's even possible. Anyway, there we go. That is the second part of day 11. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe. No music, no intro, no nothing. Just a simple, stupid video that maybe you would enjoy. Alright, see you on day 12. Maybe, if I feel like doing another one of these.